if you purchase a car, whether it be from Toyota Jamaica, Nissan, or ATL, now in the first phase of that car, in the life of that car, there are certain stipulations, there are certain regulations. Now, one of the things I know for sure is that after a month, you have to take in the car for examination. Now, why did you take it in? Why did you? Is it because it was giving trouble? Is it?
You want to ensure that it remains in good working condition. You don't
Okay.
want to wait until it gives trouble. You want to,
Uh-huh.
to prevent the trouble
Ah.
and to prevent it from breaking down.
Well, you have become the teacher this hour, so you can speak about preventative care.
Right.
So if you, because you want the vehicle to be reliable, so you are not waiting until something goes wrong. You are checking, and even after that 1 month, they will give you another time. And even when they, what is that thing that they have on the car for a period, when it would have been up, you would ensure, not the registration, the warranty, yes.
Oh, the warranty, okay,
warranty.
okay.
And you are left on your own. You would every 3 months, or some people every 6 months, I don't know, make sure you bring your car to the mechanic for servicing. The problem, Brother Warren, and I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to myself as well, because while I'm sharing here, I don't want you to form the impression that I am perfect, though I'm the presenter. I'm still a work in progress. The thing about it, though, whether we'll admit it or not, we love our cars and we love our marriages. Now, this is going to hit you. Some of you love your houses than you love your marriages. How do I know? You get up, you sweep out your house every day, you dust every day, you wash the dishes because you don't want any roaches or anything. So you love your house, and all of that attention is paid to the house, and there is little or no attention paid to you nor your partner. Now, can you see indirectly how I'm trying to answer your question? If put in a positive way, if we marriages are going to thrive, we must pay attention to you, pay attention to yourself, and pay attention to your partner. You must clean up your partner and your partner and clean up yourself, because the thing is that we accumulate dust, and not only dust but toxic waste, sometimes from work environment, sometimes even from church. People trouble we and disturb with spirit, and when we crazy, sometimes we take it out and oh Lord, you don't want me
Mold
to
and
get there.
fungus, you have to clean them
Yes.
off.
So if we're going to thrive, learn from the spice that we, when last have you thrown, I mean, I remember at high school, I remember the head girl what was saying to me that, listen, when she gets married, and I think she's married now, in fact, all the way in England, that she is never going to be a boring wife. She's not going to just do fried chicken every day, right?
Right.
She's going to she and I mean, of course, the language there, right?
Yes.
And I remembered, and I mean, I have not followed up, but the lesson about marriage is that chicken is chicken, but please, for God's sake, man, you don't have to do fried chicken every day. Sometimes you can do little sweet and sour, so little fricassee. Sometimes you can do little mala chicken, spice up the thing.
What is mala chicken, sir? I know what it is. I'm just asking for those ones.
Ask the Chinese. It's not me if I tell you. Just go to what the Chinese. It's some black sauce or something that they put on it. Yes. So that will, because once something becomes boring, we are tired, and we invariably move on to ground that is more interesting. Not that we should, because we need to come back to covenant, which is for better or for worse. Okay, I'm just answering in light of how it may thrive. Now, let me say this. I'm babbling on, but let me say this. Couples, if you are going to thrive, you need to spend time in the Word, and you need to spend time in God. Invariable couples leave God out of the picture. Yes, I'm speaking right. Okay? We get all the duties performed. We are working and earning money. Okay? We are sending the children to school. But when last have you stopped to pray with your partner? When last have you opened the Bible and do Bible study together? And in all of that, each of you must find time to cultivate your personal relationship with God. Can I testify? I know,
Amen.
and one of the things that as I grow closer to God, I know that invariably I grow closer to my wife. When my spirituality shines, it stretches her and tells her she needs to come up.
Yes.
Okay? Now I say the other way around, just to balance it out in a little while. But listening, I discovered a thought this year. Can't remember who the author is. But the idea is that if you are going to lift somebody up, you must be above them. Okay? Doesn't that make practical sense? You can only raise somebody up if you're above them. If you are below them, you pull them down. But on this journey, my wife's spirituality, her closeness to God also challenges me. So it is a case of each of us pulling up each other as we mature in the Lord in our relationship. And if you grow close to God, you'll grow close to each other. I rest there until you're ready for the divorce question, which I know you introduced.
Okay, sir.
But can I ask a question before we go to the divorce question?
No, I want to get this someone.
We want to get this one.
Yes.
Okay, all
All
right.
right. So we're going to invite Mr. and Mrs. Salmon. I don't know. Everything about him is just very unique, Lord. So he is why my head? What is his name?
Howard?
Yes, I don't know. I forgot it. Right. So his name is Howard Salmon, and her name is Hadia Salmon. Got it right? Yes. So then it's very unique, and you know, we have worked with them in terms of ministry. You know, we've been through so much together in terms of the work that the Lord is doing here with the Freedom Come movement, and just taking us all over this island to take back Jamaica for Jesus. And we've just worked with them, we've ate with them, just talked, we've worshipped with them, we've prayed, we've learned, we've went to gone to classes together to learn in terms of spiritual warfare, various things. And so we've gotten to know them a little bit, and we know that when you upon meeting them, they look very shy, look very quiet, but when they take a microphone and they open their mouth to worship, I never said sing, because there are two different things. When they open their mouth, especially our husband, he just looks so quiet all the time, and when he opens, I'm like, are you the same person who was just sitting there quietly a while ago? And just what God uses them to do, what happens between them, and blessing them with their children, just everything. So as I said last week, and I've always said, there are no perfect parents here. And know that we're talking about marriage for the last 2 weeks. There are no perfect marriages here or perfect people. But I just want to invite the Salmons to just share with us in terms of their journey of discovering God's purpose for them, what God is doing with them, and just the entire journey, and what they want to share with us as people who are married and how they're staying married, and then we'll continue. Thank you for joining us. You may go ahead.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
So, you asked about purpose for marriage. To be honest with you, how the journey. Okay, let's talk about the journey first.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, so we've been married for 12 years. Yeah, remember we look young. Well, we are young. We've been married for 12 years, and every time somebody asks me or I get an opportunity to talk about my marriage, I always say, there are things I would change if I could turn back the hands of time, but one of the things I would definitely not change is whom I marry. Because I believe, I'm convinced that number one, the Lord put us together, and also that I believe we were made for each other. Having said that, we've had a very interesting relationship.
Very.
But we love each other and we love the Lord, and we give thanks to the Lord for what He has done with us and in us so far. And we know that it is purely the grace of God that has kept us. To backtrack a lot, before I got married, I thought that my upbringing and my deep Christian roots would have made it easy for me during courtship. And oh, sorry about that. She has to step out for a minute.
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Yeah. So I thought that it would have been easy for me because of my upbringing and my deep Christian roots. But I remember smiling last week when you guys were talking about your relationship, and you talked about how you had to take a break from each other. We had to do that too. And because I realized, I came to realize that no matter how Christian I was and how prepared or trained I thought I was, I realized that it wasn't very easy at all to spend a lot of time with. We didn't have a long distance relationship. Ours was quite short. I could walk to her house. I did a lot. And I realized that spending a lot of time with somebody I had such strong feelings for was not so easy at all, you know? So yeah, we had to take a break, I think twice. Yeah. And it was quite a challenge, to be honest with you.
Especially the second time. Seriously, it was longer than the first time.
How long was it? 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks.
But it helped us, and we spent a lot of time talking, just sharing with each other what our understanding of marriage is and what our expectations were, and so forth. And I really believe that helped a lot. And early in our marriage, I think before we got married, we had made some, what do I call it now, rules or guidelines, you know, about ways we would not relate to each other. For example, we would refuse to call each other any names, any kind of names that was anyway demeaning or derogatory.
Or shouting at each other.
Yeah, I'm not so sure we are. After being married, I'm not sure we did so well and they're not shouting at each other. But I think we have managed to not take it too far or to get out of control, so to speak. So we've had disagreements, and we had different ways of resolving or resolving our differences or our conflicts in different ways. For example, I would love to, well, let's talk about it right now. Let's discuss it. Let's deal with the matter and get it sorted out and out of the way so we don't have to come back here. And she was more of, I don't want to talk about it right now, and I don't want you to push me. I'm not in a good mood. I don't want to talk. No, I want to settle down first. I want to cool off so we can talk about it. And there were times initially when I was adamant about dealing with it right now, because I believe this is the way it is to be done. And if it is not this way, it will have serious ramifications later on. Of course, eventually I had to realize that me pushing or forcing her to talk about it now when she really, really didn't want to talk about it now was not the best way. And so we had to come to some compromises. Sometimes we would talk about it right now. Sometimes we would wait a little until she was comfortable. You know, it has been a learning process. And of course, we are still learning. Never stop learning, you know. But it's a lot of work. Most of the work I don't mind doing though, because it is rewarding. It is rewarding, especially communication. I don't want to talk too much. I'm gonna let my wife speak.
All right, Hadia.
Thank you.
All right. Communication. Wow. It is very powerful. Just to backtrack a little, but far this time. When we were talking or courting, yes. All right, so I realized that he loved to talk, right? But I wasn't a talky person,
Right.
you know.
All things have changed.
Go ahead. Talk, Sister Hadia.
All right. All right. So listen. All right. But I had some issues, right? I had some issues based on some things in my past, right? And you meet this person and you just you don't want to break their heart or anything like that. You just want to make sure you come clean with them and all of that, and because you don't want it to get too far, and then when certain things reveal, it break the marriage apart, right? And I didn't want that. I mean, I said, I'm so nice and so sweet. And I said, I don't want that to happen to him. You understand? So I had to come to, because he was talking to me, but I couldn't express myself clearly, right? Because of some issues that I had, right? And so I had to come to the decision to tell him who I am. You understand? And some things that I've been through. Tell him the things that I've been through, actually. And so I had to make up my mind to say, you know what? Or come to that point to say that, you know what? I'm just going to come straight to him. He said, AYZ, XYZ. And the ball would be in his court. So after he has heard what I have to say, then it's no. It's up to him now to say, okay, do I continue with you or do I just call it a day right here? So, right? So I remember we spoke. It was a night, yeah. We spoke that night and just lay out everything on the table, right? And so he went home and he thought about all that was said, blah 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 blah. blah, 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 blah. And then what did that Maggie? So the long and short of it is that he decided to take me, to stay with me. That's right. All right, so said that he would, keep me for him. So that's one. And it had been a relief for me because afterwards I could communicate freely. You understand? So any problems or anything like that, I was free to share with him, because he's very concerned and he speaks about matters of the heart. Oh, that's his passion, right? And so I could share with him anything and he would, give some wise counsel. Yeah. And I really, really appreciated him. Now, being married to this young man is the best thing ever. You understand? And we just, as my husband said, it's a learning process. So we learn more about each other every day, right? And during the relationship, what I figured out, or what should I say? Let me say this. All right, I'm trying to get all of this together. Just bear with me. Just bear with me a little. One thing that I realized was that, you see, when you have a heart for God and you want to serve God, it will be, I think it's easy to please your husband.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Or your wife.
Or your wife, yeah.
Yeah.
As you build a relationship with God, I mean, you're going to want to do the things of God, and if God said you must submit to your husband, then you will submit to your husband, right? And if God say husband love your wife, then he's going to love his wife, right? And so the triangle effect, yes, the closer you get to God is the closer your husband and the wife come together. You understand? So I pause it right here until everything has come back. Mr. Salmon, over to you again.
All right, on the matter of purpose, I hope not to disappoint anyone, but to be honest with you, I've been thinking about what I'm going to say about, the purpose of marriage or the purpose of a couple and that kind of thing. And or the purpose of our marriage. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I can necessarily pinpoint that per se. However, I do know that it is important, as I believe somebody said it earlier tonight, that we know each other's purpose and calling and support each other. And so generally that's what we try to do, support each other. So if I have to do something, or if the Lord has given me a task to do, when I share it with my wife, she is usually very supportive, and vice versa. And as she said, I mean, when you are when you really have a heart for serving the Lord, it will, I don't know if I would say it will be easy, but it does make it easier for you to support your spouse, or, you know, and the whole idea of commitment. I for one do not believe that love alone is enough to, it may be enough to bring people together, to bring two persons together. I don't believe love alone is enough to keep two persons together in a marriage, because inevitably you will come across some challenges, some things that you'll come across challenges that I think it will take more than just love to overcome. I think not to demean the place or purpose of love, you know, because it is significant, but commitment to each other and commitment to God, I believe, are really the keys. I mean, if I am committed to serving the Lord and doing the will of the Lord, I don't have a choice but to remain committed to my wife, you know. And I tend to be a little extreme sometimes in things that I do. For example, I will refuse from building a close relationship with another female, another lady. And I think, as I said, I think I overdo it sometimes. Sometimes I even refuse to say to a lady, maybe a coworker or something, I like your hair, you know, or you look nice or whatever, because I've had the experience whereby just trying to be nice and be friendly, you know, people mistakenly, they misinterpret, you know, and think that you look them. And in an attempt to steer away from even the possibility or the likelihood of having an inappropriate relationship with a female, sometimes I do not relate with or to them as much as I probably should, because I am making sure that I toe the line, so to speak. I'm really,
marriage.
yeah. I think me overdo it sometimes, which is not necessarily a good thing.
Not a bad thing either. No, I mean, not a bad thing either. I mean, I think based on your actions, everybody ought to know that your wife is important and your wife is wife, and you will not allow anything to basically impose on that.
You can go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to say that even though he's on this note, but I want to just add that yes, it is important that we protect our relationship. Probably you went to some extremes and all of that, but it's really important to protect our relationship, our marriage. I remember in the younger years of our marriage, now we trust our word, right? And I knew that he wouldn't go out of the way to get involved with another woman or anything like that, right? Because we're just plain and we're just clear, straight with each other. But I remember that he said that so as I said, I mean, he loves people and he loves to talk about matters of the heart. And if he have a concern about somebody, he wants to help that person, right? He will try his best to, right? Now I remember that he had this co-worker, and was a female, and he said to me that, well, he asked me if it was okay for him to have lunch with this young lady, you know, just to talk to her and all of that, right? No, as we said, trust him. Don't think he will do anything funny or anything like that. But I remember, and I keep remembering something that my grand uncle told me, and he kept on saying that let not your good be evil spoken of. That just kept ringing in my ears, right? And I said that to him. He said, well, that would be fine, but let not your good be evil spoken of. I believe it's in Proverbs, somewhere there about. Anyway, and just by saying that, well, he decided, you know what, I'm not going to go ahead to meet with this young lady. Not sure what became of whatever conversation that he wanted to have with her. But the point is that yes, you want to do something good, but persons see you and know you, and you are doing something good enough, but you have persons who will see, okay, wait, now you're married with you. You understand? And you might have lunch with them or something, you know people, right? You don't want that kind of stigma or that kind of that reputation to follow you, right? And so we have to be very careful. And I also remember a time, now this is with me, I remember before we got married, I had this friend. He was a male friend. And well, of course he was interested in me, but never really interested in him that much. I mean, him cute and all of that. But one of the turn-off was that both of us had the same last name. Yeah, so like seriously, I ain't going anywhere. But I remember after shortly after we got married, he called me, you know, and he was asking me to have lunch with him. And I said, no, I'm not going to have lunch with you. And I said to him, sir, I'm married now. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to do it. And you know what shocked me out of my wits, his response. Because he said to me that your husband nothing know about it. I'm like, what? You know me tell him, right? You know, that was it. I had to just dismiss him from off my list. You know, that will not work. How dare you? I know no secrecy. No, we not go open the door for the enemy to come in and mash up my life and mash up my relationship. I'm not going to do that. You understand me? God gave me this man and I need to honor him. You understand? I respect him and submit to him. You understand me? I say, boy, God, you really love me and I thank you. I mean, I have to just sometimes just thank God for how I. Yeah. You understand? Because a real man, this, you know, he's a
real man, Howard.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lord.
And I love him wife, him love him family, him love him children. You understand me? And respect him. Honey, love him.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. You know, I just wanted to comment on some things that you said before we go back to Reverend Richard. I'm not sure which camera is picking up. I'm just doing some someone told me years ago that love doesn't keep a marriage. but it takes commitment to keep a marriage. Reflecting on it sometime after, when I think about how love is defined in scripture and so on, I don't see love, real love, and commitment as being things that are mutually exclusive, or two different things. I think wrapped up in love, if I genuinely love you, then I'm going to be committed to you. So with love comes commitment. With true love comes commitment. And I think many persons, we think of love as just this feeling. You know, I feel romantic towards this person. I have this feeling towards this person. But I think it's also a decision that you make. You're not hearing me, Hadia?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Right. Right. So, when I think about love being patient and being kind and not boastful and keeping no record of wrongs and all those things, I think of making a decision to love, to be committed with this person. And when I think about, a former pastor of mine, Reverend Richards, Reverend Grant, his definition for love, to me, out of a conversation we're having, he said, love is living so that the other person can be better. Love is living so that the other person can be better. And it's a definition that I really appreciated. Because, when I think about Jesus loving us, all he did was for our betterment. And even when, it was hard and rough, he remained committed to going through, even to death on a cross. Out of obedience, yes, but also out of love for those of us who are, are lost. And I think it's very important that we, in our marriages, remain mindful that, even if I feel a particular way today, I'm committed to this person, and I've made up my mind to love this person, to love this person.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Hadia.
Can I say something? Also, I have come to realize something as well, is that whenever all right, so for example, Howard he did something that wasn't so, or probably some decision that he made wasn't probably what I had expected, or something happened that probably he didn't even have control over. At one point, I used to be annoyed or upset about it. Sometimes I felt like I was getting angry towards him, right? And I had to do a reflection. I said no, I will not be angry at him, right? But of course, as you go through the whole learning process and getting to know each other and all of that, and of course you listen to other persons talk about their experiences, and hear preachers or counselors talk about marriage. I don't have one thing I've come to realize, say, hey, why am I getting angry at him? You understand? Especially sometimes it's not really him. It's just the enemy doing some things to get me frustrated. Right? And once he gets, or any one of us frustrated, there's gonna cause a problem. Probably we start to argue or something, because he's going to throw a lot of darts, because first of all, he don't like marriage and him just want to break it up. Right? He will use the littlest of things to spark something that we just want to, that will allow the marriage just to break apart or whatever it is, right? And even the other day when he said something to me over the phone, and I felt like I was going to get angry at him. But I said, no, I'm going to pray for him. And just started to pray and all of that. And it wasn't even his problem, his fault or anything like that. And I started to pray, and I was amazed to see how God just worked things out. You understand? I may say, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You understand? I'm supposed to pray for him. You understand? And cover him and bless him. You understand? Yes. Right. And bless him, you know, and we have to be so careful, and we have to really be in tune with the Holy Spirit, you know. You know, there are sometimes, because sometimes we know that, of course, there's your words are powerful and all of that, right? And sometimes the enemy, as we say, him just want that the littlest chance to get him to just cause the marriage to just rip apart, which he has done to a lot of marriages. Yeah. And I mean, some things where you see people get angry, upset, or angry over, you're like serious, or even divorced over, you're like, seriously? Just some simple little something, you know, what could have been just been resolved. You understand? If we just talk and just express ourselves clearly, as you know, communicate. You understand? And get the things to sort it out. But I remember I was feeling a bit depressed last one. I remember I was feeling a bit. No, I wasn't even a bit. I was feeling very depressed, and I think I was at work that day. You know, and Howard called me and he said something to me. And, you know, he did not mean whatever he said, he did not mean it a particular way. But can you believe it? That is like the interpretation that I got made me to say, I started to look at it as, you know, it's like Howard is saying, me not good for nothing, in other words. Right? And it's like that even add on top of the depression that I was feeling. And so it's like, no, me just kind of just take down and me say, why? Me not good for nothing. And all my husband I said that. And blah, blah, blah. And even suicidal thoughts came to my mind. Like, seriously. Like, yeah. Suicidal thoughts came to my mind. And then it's like me have to ask God to really help me to come out of that. You understand? Me have to really come out, snap out of that. Me have to pray and ask God to really help me come out of that. And you know, when I came out of that, I said it to him. I said, Howard, you know, you said so and so and so, and I felt so depressed, and I really thought that this was what you were saying. You understand? And he said, oh, honey, that was not what I was saying, and all of that. So even so, the enemy can just twist up things and just send it to you to make you just think, say, hey, the world is against you, your husband is against you, rather. You understand? And so we have to just be very careful, and we have to make sure, say, we are in a relationship with God as well, so we can call on to him. Right? You know, when we're depressed, when we're in need, you know, we have to call on him and ask him for help. You understand? So, I guess for now, these are my few words in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you,
Sir, his mic is off.
No, he's on.
Oh, all right, sir. So I'm just gonna share just for a minute, and then you'll continue, because you have to be obedient to the Spirit of the Lord. And I just want to start by saying that, you know, just some weeks ago, when in reflecting and just, you know, praying to the Lord about this that we're supposed to be doing, you know, that the Lord shared with me one day. He said to me that, you know, this that I have, you know, called you to do, it is bigger than you, and it is heavy, and it's bigger than you, but you're not doing it alone. You know, you just have to just listen to the instructions that I give to you. And I say that to say that, you know, we have to be obedient, and we just have to just be open to, you know, how God just leads us. So like, in just hearing Hadia speak, you know, she said something that the Holy Spirit said to me this evening that I needed to share. And the entire time that we've been talking, you know, for the last hour, I've just been trying to quench it, you know, just to calm myself, to just say, you know, like I just said it fast, and I am, you know, so I'm going to just be obedient, you know. So both of them, you know, were sharing that, you know, you have to protect your marriage, and, you know, you have to pray for each other, just that kind of a thing. And she shared, you know, that you have to you know, be careful of the doors that you open based on the things that you do and the things that you say. And you know, I just want to share this. Like I am, this thing the Holy Spirit said to me. This is what you need to share. Because I was saying, you know, I don't really have much to share today. I just have the questions, you know, from persons who have these, you know, concerns as well as questions that I have, and I just want, you know, them to be answered for the most part. And the Holy Spirit said to me, that is what I want to share. You know, so when you guys started talking, I knew that that was the Holy Spirit saying, listen, that's the thing, you need to share that. So I'm going to share it. I don't know why many of you who are here now, I don't know why you're here, but God would have you to be here for a reason and have the sermons that have stir on, you know, for a reason. So yesterday, and to be calm, yesterday morning I got up very early, you know, probably about 5:30, and I saw that Warren had put some clothes to wash for me that I had asked him to do the night before. I said, you know, just put some stuff to wash and I'll hang them on the line. And when I was very happy that he put them on the line, so I went outside and I was just having my morning devotion, just spending, you know, time with the Lord outside in the cool, and I'm saying, boy, this is so good to just give the Lord the best part of your morning. And I was just reflecting and, you know, just worshiping and just standing out there. I started hanging out the clothes, and when I went to the machine and I took up a blouse, one of my favorite blouses, and I realized that, you know, the blouse had some kind of burgundy on it. I'm saying, okay, I'm not upset. Let me just calmly check the result. And when I started digging, you know, and just digging and digging and digging in the machine, I realized that the entire set of, you know, clothes that were put to wash were burgundy. No joke, just red. You know, all the things that had white in them or light blue or orange or like everything just turned burgundy. And man, I just got so mad. And he was sleeping, you know, just sleeping. And I went and I called him. And even in marching over to call him, to wake him up, the Holy Spirit said to me, Erica, you do not need to wake him up and ask him about it. And I'm not listening because I am set and I am bent on making him know that the clothes mess up. And the Holy Spirit asked me, so when you wake him up to tell him that, what does that do? And I had no shame. I did not listen. I just walked and I'm calling him, you know. And I woke him up and I said, why would you wash the clothes with the burgundy thing? And it's my favorite scarf, you know. So now, you know, I in the moment I'm like, I hate this scarf now. And and he was like, what are you talking about? You asked me to wash this stuff, and I washed them, and I said, yeah, but no, the messy. And I went off. And you know, he was trying to explain to me that he really didn't even think about it. He just put the stuff to wash because he saw that those, you know, on the floor needed to be washed and not off. And I wasn't having it. And you know, he was the same. He was apologizing, and I was saying, boy, you know, whatever. And I'm just all over the place, and I'm so upset. And when I went back outside, he just went, you know, just to sleep. And when I went back outside, you know, the Holy Spirit said to me, you know, you calm down, oh, you're ready to listen to me. And I just, you know, I just killed my spirit and I just kind of calmed down, you know, almost like, okay, what you're saying to me because I'm upset about my clothes, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, the Lord said to me that you see, just as though that one piece of burgundy clothing, you know, scarf, that burgundy scarf could go in that machine and just mess up all of those clothes in there. It's the same way that sin messes us up, messes, you know, people up. And it's the same way that when you open a door to your marriage, when there is something that you say or you do, just one little door that you open, sin comes in and it just starts tearing and ripping and muddying and, you know, just making everything that God, you know, has put together so beautifully just start falling apart right before it, and you are wondering what, you know, what, because, you know, the word of God says you don't give Satan a foothold and you don't even recognize the thing that you're saying. And when the Lord shared that with me, I didn't understand until today when he reminded me of the many, many times that I have declared out of my own mouth, oh, that I'm just leaving. I'm leaving. We weren't always this mature. We weren't always this. Yeah. You know, we weren't always this, you know, seeing eye to eye and working together. We weren't where we are now. And it took years and it took the Holy Spirit to work on us individually and together. And for this year, we are going to renew our vows. You know, that's the plan, to renew our vows. But it's not because, oh, yeah, it's a 10-year anniversary, oh, it's a 20 silver anniversary. It's none of that. For us, especially for me, I am looking forward to it so much that I will renew this beautiful covenant before God and just with my husband for every single thing that I have spoken against my marriage, because the Lord allowed me this week to learn something, just watching and listening to a word that He brought me to. That, you know, sometimes when the multitude comes, the multitude is there for you to receive what the Lord is giving to you, for you to go out to do His work. And for me, I spoke against the multitude, just as how the disciples spoke against the multitude. So when they came to be fed, the disciples said, send them away, just let them just go. And He's saying, no, let's feed them. And even when He said that, the disciples still decided, you know what, we're going to get the food and come back. And He's saying, no, feed them. What you have, what do you have? And so God has given Him to me. He's my gift. You know, He's my gift. And so many times, just out of anger, out of emotions, just out of just not allowing the Holy Spirit to just guide you, and just to cause you to be at peace when you are communicating with each other, when you are sharing your feelings, as hard as it is, as hard as the critique is, the constructive criticism is, instead of asking the Holy Spirit for you to receive it in love and receive it that your husband is your leader, and you know he wants well for you, that your wife who loves you, wants what is best, who respects you, who God has given you, wants you to grow, wants you to come up, or your husband wants you to come up, just as Sir said before. Instead of, you know, as you said, loving the Lord so much that He guides you in this thing called marriage, in this union, where it's not you alone, it's the Holy Spirit right here. So between you two, you know, instead of holding on to that, we do so many things, we speak so many things against our own marriage without even recognizing the damage, and against our spouses without recognizing the damage that we can do, or that we started to unravel, the cracks that will happen, because sometimes it's just a domino effect, and when it starts going bad, just as Hadia said, it's going so bad that some simple things are saying like, why are we arguing? What are we arguing? What is this? What are we arguing about? You can't even remember what you're arguing about. And the World War III battles that you have, it is so horrible. And at the end of the night, you can't even sleep because you don't even know what you're truly arguing about. And when Satan gets a foothold, if and when he does, my God, if the Holy Spirit is not there to help you to war and to fight for your own marriage, you know, win problems, and that's where divorce comes in. So, you know, I had to be obedient, and I just had to share that. I have no shame in sharing. If God says share, I just have to obey. So in sharing that, I just go to Sir now in saying, staying married is hard. It is very, very hard, especially if it is that God is not leading and giving, because you go through seasons where you just do what you want to in a year marriage. A year marriage, and you just do what you want to, instead of saying, God, this is where we're at now. Where are we supposed to go now? Because now we're dry. No, we just don't feel like we're in love, and the bubble's gone and the flutter is gone. You know, God, we're having financial issues now. Lord, we're supposed to make a decision about the school that the children are supposed to go. All these things are seasons. You know, what do you do in those seasons of staying married? You know, when you're envisioning something, when you're dreaming together, all those things, where do you say, God, help us to stay married? Because if we follow ourselves, and if we follow our own emotions and thoughts and our own wisdom, that's the word of God says, trust in the Lord. Don't lean to your own understanding, because your own understanding ends you up in divorce court and trying to download a divorce paper, and the Holy Spirit has to say to you, what are you doing? What are you doing in a tone that you've never heard Him speak to you before? Because what you are about to do, and the door that you are about to open in what you're about to say to your husband, say to your wife, that text message that you're about to answer, that ex who is about to call you, and you're going to answer, this is going to lead you down some road that just dirty and just muddy, and it just messes up this beautiful thing that God has given to us as a gift, which is marriage. So, sir.
But before Reverend Richards, I'm sorry, Reverend Richards. Before Reverend Richards comes on, I just wanted to make a comment. With what you were saying, Erica. You know, there's some persons who they get married, but it's almost like they have 1 foot in and 1 foot, well, not maybe not a foot out, but they always have like a backup plan. There was a backup plan to say, all right, you know, if it's not going away, want it to go, I can just get a divorce. You know, I'll just go. And I know cases of one partner who would always be saying, you know, I can't bother me. Say, I'm going. You know, but I think the lesson though is that Christian people don't enter marriages. And let me put it another way: children of God don't enter marriages with a backup plan. You know, you enter marriage.
Get married to stay married.
Right, to stay married. Get married to stay married. Right? But anyway, I'll just turn over to Reverend Richards. So. Rev? Oh, sorry, I think I have to. Do I have to unmute him? I'm not sure what's up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for unmuting me.
Sorry about that.
Yes. Much has been said, and want to congratulate the Salmons for sharing in the way they did, such practical and insightful ways. And I believe they have set the platform for so many other things to be discussed. I think as they shared, one of the things that became obvious to me, how marriage couples have to identify parasites, not just to identify them, but get rid of them. And of course, the thought is not original to me, but if you have ever watched the movie Fireproof, then it shows you how parasites can easily attach themselves to relationships. And no matter how, even if you are, what was the term you used earlier, Erica? Even if you are soulmates, and you are not mindful of parasites, problems can and will develop. The other thought I want to raise, I want to, although I was assuming, am I to understand that they are not only married couples online, but there are persons who are single, who may be looking.
Single, dating, engaged, all of them, all the works.
Just want to be clear, because one of the things that came to me, if a person does not trust God, and hear me clearly, if a person does not trust God to the point where they can make a commitment to God, why should you trust that person? And this word is now not for so much those who are already married, but to the not yet. And my line of demarcation is, if a person, you look at you now, you're a Christian and you trust God, you have every confidence in him, and you know that there is nothing wrong with God. And the God that there is nothing wrong with, somebody is not willing to trust this perfect God. Then why should you trust that imperfect person?
Yeah.
And I think you get the gist as to what I'm saying. You will invariably fall into error if you trust a person who he or she himself is not able to trust God. You're going to find yourself in trouble. The other matter, and I mean, I think Madam directors are host, or what is it? The host of the program. I am afraid to touch the divorce, because I know that for me in another 10 minutes, I don't know how long you go until I will have to end.
We have to wrap up soon.
Yes.
So we may have to invite you back to touch the divorce.
Right. So I wouldn't want to touch that matter, because it's going to require then the time we do have. To go back to what the Salmons mentioned, yes, and this is the last point I will make, is that I gather from their sharing that no matter how, if you are soulmates or not, everyone enters marriage with baggages.
Yeah.
If you can also call it garbage. No one comes from a perfect family background. There are issues that you carry over. And sometimes we who are very spiritual call them generational curses, which are real, but some may just say baggages. The thing about it, and this is why premarital counseling cannot be overrated or underutilized. We have to be careful. It is the unfolding are the revealing and the getting rid of those baggages that calls us to come into the full purpose. For even though destiny is written all over us, if there is no removal of the baggages, no revealing of them and knowing what to throw away so that you can know what to keep, then our lives will invariably be a failure. I want to commend you both for creating this platform to celebrate marriages, and as you recognize that, as your theme suggests, it is not just getting married, but it is staying together. And if we include God in the picture, by looking upward while also looking downward, then we will grow closer as a couple, but also closer to God in the process. Thank you so much for having me, and blessing to all your listeners and viewers.
Thank you, sir. All right, so sir has about 2 minutes before it is bedtime. Do we have any questions that we may want to ask him? And this is the only time you'll get to ask him a question without sitting in front of him in his office as a counselor or an officer of marriage, or you know, for his pastoral guidance.
Remember, we're going to bring him back to talk about divorce.
But you know, this is you have a moment where you don't have to pay for the service. Praise God. So you can go ahead and ask the question.
I never charge you.
Any questions, friends? All right. I think the chat is.
You have to unmute them.
No, everybody's unmuted. All right.
I guess they have to unmute themselves.
Yeah, they have to unmute themselves now. So in the chat, we just have one person who gave us the scripture that Sister Hadia was referring to, Romans 14, verse 16. So that's there. And there's someone speaking now. Hello, you can go ahead.
Oh, just saying thanks. It's fine.
Okay. Someone was saying that in addition to all of this, is our learning to be still so that God can speak to us and can take action. There are so many times that I have, I'm not sure, HSD to just remember, I've had to just remember to be still and let Him work for me. So that's from MMC QT iPhone. So thank you very much, MMC QT iPhone. And of course, there are some thank yous going out to Reverend Richards and this. MMCQT is my sister.
Hi,
Elaine. Well, that's my sister, Elaine, joining us. Welcome, Elaine. All right. Yes. Right.
All right. So since we have no questions, Ms. Kavi normally has a question or comment, but she's quiet tonight, so we're leaving her be. So we just want to say, sir, thank you so much for taking the time out to really come on here and to share with us. As you said before, that talking about just, you know, how to stay married and keeping the spice and, you know, the matter of the taboo topic, which is divorce for, you know, married couples. It's a lot to do tonight, and we were already running late. So we really just want to thank you, and we look forward to, you know, when we'll have you on again for those who are here. And if it is that person's asked for your number, you're giving us the go ahead to pass out your number, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, sir. So we really want to thank you for your wisdom and for, you know, allowing God to lead and giving us, you know, direction and, you know, bringing us back to basics as to, you know, being married and staying married, and, you know, the different aspects of the different components in staying married. So thank you very, very much. Please say hello to everybody for us.
Well, I saw Sister Richards. She was on earlier, but she left. So
Yes.
please go over to Sister Richards.
I'll be sure to do it.
Yes, and for everyone else, thank you so much for joining us again
And the
tonight, for the Salmons especially.
Thank you very much for
sharing, for really sharing. And I know that I'll get the messages when we close, you know, of the different ways people are impacted. And if it is that, you know, people have other questions, to forward to you, I will do so. So thank you so much for welcoming us into your homes and for joining us for another virtual village tonight on a Thursday night. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about spice, and we'll have a little bit of, you know, fun in the Lord. We'll, you know, have some trivia, and it was going to be really, really good to just summarize all that we have done for the last 2 weeks. So we look forward to you joining us and inviting those who you think may need, you know, to hear from God through us and through whoever we bring on.
And please, I know Erica doesn't want me to
No,
but I encourage,
no. Okay.
You can follow us on the YouTube. It's follow?
No, you see that you don't even say that.
What?
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. Please hug up your wives, hug up your husbands and your potentials. Please bless them and pray for them. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bless you, everybody.
Good night and thank you.
Bye.